On today's menu is chili. This is a really easy recipe that I made up a million years ago and it just got called Amy's Chili. I live with someone who does not like spicy food, and so this is a very, very mild chili, but obviously you can pump up the spice as much as you want. You can make this in a slow cooker or just on the stove. And there are beans in my chili because that's how you make chili. Someone told me once that there are places that don't put beans in their chili. They put like noodles in their chili or something. Y'all, I'm from Minnesota and noodles and stuff makes it a hot dish. A hot dish, you guys. We're making chili with beans today. What we need for this recipe today is ground beef, onions, green peppers, tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, dark red kidney beans, and some chili seasoning mix. Super simple, you guys. Let's go. Take 2 pounds of hamburger and brown it up with as many green peppers and onions as you can stand, then drain it, put it in your slow cooker. Then add the tomato sauce, the diced tomatoes, the kidney beans, and the chili seasoning. Give it a stir carefully so it doesn't go all over your counter. And there you go. Look at that chunky, basic chili. Now, obviously, if you were going to not use the slow cooker, you would just dump all those ingredients in a big old pot and let it simmer. When the meat is cooked, pretty much you're just heating up the rest of the stuff. So it's not a soup that needs to cook for a long time, but we are making it in the slow cooker, so we're just gonna put it on low. Probably gonna be in the slow cooker for 4 hours before we eat. The problem with making a video about a slow cooker soup is it's super fast. Like, that's why we use slow cookers, because it saves us time. It's fast to put together, and then the slow cooker does all the work. So with a video about a slow cooker soup, how do I make it longer? It could be like recipe websites, and I could give you my life story about using a slow cooker, or I could give you the history of slow cookers, or I could tell you the advantages and disadvantages of slow cookers when really all you wanted was the recipe. Right? How about I show you how to make something that goes really, really well with chili? I'm going to show you how to make a really great cornbread that goes with chili, but I got a little distracted and realized I had to make some apple pies for dessert first. So there you are. Here's my sweet ninja moves, along with magic twirling, and then all of a sudden we have 2 wonderful caramel apple something or other pies for dessert. Doesn't that look lovely? I think we should have dessert first. In this bowl of dry ingredients, we have 1½ cups of cornmeal, 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons baking powder, a teaspoon of baking soda. Over here, we've got 1.5 cups of buttermilk and 2 eggs. Now we're gonna mix up this bowl. We're gonna mix up this bowl, and then we're gonna add these 2 bowls together. Then we're gonna blend these in here until they're just moist. We don't wanna overmix this, but having said that, make sure it is mixed. The first thing we do with this cornbread recipe is take our big cast iron, whatever you want to call it, and we're gonna put a stick of butter in it and stick it in the oven and melt the butter in the pan, pot, griddle, skillet, like, what is this? I don't know. It's my cast iron pan. That's just what I call it. Everything is a cast iron pan, no matter what the shape is. I don't know. I am not a professional. Butter! Did that show up on camera? I don't even know. So turn the oven on to 400. Stick this in there with the butter so the butter can melt. The thing you have to remember is that when you take it back out, it's gonna be hot. So grab yourself a pot holder or whatever it is that you use, because for some reason, when you're working with it on the counter in the next step, you're gonna forget that it's a bazillion degrees. So be careful. All right, now it looks like it's pretty melted, so good and melty in there, right? You can kind of see that. I'm gonna swish that around. And what we're actually going to do is pour most of this melted butter into there, okay? And then we're gonna pour that back in there. Does that make sense? Left a little bit in there because that's what we're actually going to swirl around to kind of be our grease, so the cornbread doesn't stick in there. Makes sense? There's no shortage of butter in this recipe. Or on my counters or my oven, my stove, there's butter everywhere. I'm kind of messy. Oh geez. Stir this up a little bit. Get that butter in there. Pour that in there. Now this right here, this is when you think, oh, I have this pan and I'm gonna put it back in the oven. No, it's hot. You would probably only do that once. Ask me how I know. Now it is going to bake at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, I believe. And when it comes out, we're gonna put even more butter on it. It's not healthy, but it is delicious. And just because I can, I'm gonna check on this chili here. Some people like their chili super thick, like the broth part of it really thick. I was gonna say really sick, but yeah. This is the way I like my chili. Chunky. And if we added noodles to it, what would it be, friends? It would be a hot dish, because I'm from Minnesota. And now, ooh, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Now, we're gonna dot some more butter on there. Check it out. It seems like that would be dessert, right? But it's not, and it's just a side to go with the chili. Should I remind you what dessert is? This is dessert, and this is dessert. It is super rough to live at my house. Time to serve this up and eat. Now, if you are someone who doesn't like the acidity of tomatoes, what you can do is add a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of sugar to this chili, and that will kind of cut the acidity. Otherwise, go ahead and top it with whatever you want. I use shredded cheddar cheese, some sour cream, some corn chips, and then, of course, that cornbread. Eat this and then dessert.